Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the December 2022 Department of Social Services Board meeting. Right now, we're going to observe a moment of silent prayer or silent meditation. Okey-dokey. Do we have any public comments? No. Okay, we need a motion to approve or revise the agenda. Is there any revisions?
Yes, I have a revision, Madam Chair.
Okay.
The budget update will not occur today. However, Michelle Gooding, our staff development person, is going to do a brief presentation on diversity and the holidays.
Okey-dokey. So do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Second.
Will you finish?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion passed. Okay.
She was-
All right. So have you had a chance to review your minutes from the previous meeting in November? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Okay, I'll turn it over to Ms. Rochelle to recognize our new hires and retirees.
Good afternoon, everyone. When I call your name, if you would just come up to the podium and introduce yourself, just give us a little brief introduction of where you've been and how you ended up here at Pitt County, and we just want to welcome you and get to know you a little bit better. So the first person is Tiffany Smith.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Tiffany Smith. I'm in income maintenance at Human Services Resource Center. I'll be doing intake for food stamps, and basically I have a background of factory, team lead, so here I am.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Gwendolyn Pratt. Okay, Gwendolyn, welcome, wherever you are. Glad you're here. Jessica Thompson.
My name is Jessica Thompson. I work at the Human Services Income Maintenance 1 Customer Service. I have a background of working with the Department of Public Safety from 2003 to up until last month. So I just wanted a different career because I'm going to school for human services.
Welcome.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Alexis Krause.
Hey, I'm Alexis. I just graduated from ECU in May, and now I'm here working in child welfare.
Welcome.
Welcome,
and
Alexis.
congratulations.
Randy McDonald.
I'm Randy McDonald. I previously worked with Camden County, DSS, and I'm working as income maintenance worker in economic services.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Randy.
Glad to have you.
Linda Bonner.
I'm Linda Bonner, and I am working at Human Services as an income maintenance 3 in adult Medicaid. I have 14 years at Camden DSS, doing many things. Glad to be here.
Thank
you. Welcome.
And Alex, is it Kewen? And if I mispronounced your name, I'm sorry.
Hello, I'm Alex Cowan. I am working in child welfare as a permanency planning social worker. I did a internship here at Pitt County DSS a few years ago. I went and obtained my MSW, and now I'm back, and I'm happy to be back.
Welcome, thank you.
Glad to have you.
We have a couple retirees, Tom Slocum and Natalie. He what?
He's on vacation.
Okay, good for him. And Natalie Ramsey.
Hello, I'm Natalie Ramsey. I'm retiring with 30 years. I've been here since March the 8th, 1993. And I will be retiring at the end of this month.
Congratulations, and
Thank you.
thank you.
Natalie, thank you for your service. I have one last introduction.
Okay.
We have our new executive administrator, who is my right-hand person and will also be helping us out as the DSS board. Stand up, Ashley Clark. And she has been absolutely phenomenal. I don't know what I would have done with her the last 2 weeks, so thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're now going to talk about items for report, and there's a child welfare update with Peter West.
Good afternoon.
Good
afternoon.
Good to see you folks today. My name is Peter West. I'm the section chief for the Child Welfare Section of North Carolina Division of Social Services. I wanted to give you a positive update today. I got to meet Ms. Nelson back in September when this process started, so it's good to see you again. Some of you may know, in May of this year, the Child Welfare Department here in Pitt County, we asked them to go into corrective action. There was a significant backlog of cases that were still open. And in September, we had to increase that to what we call an intensive corrective action because there had not been any movement on that backlog of cases. So we met with the department, and a couple of things that we did in order to partner with Pitt County to ensure that these cases were taken care of. One of the things we did, Meredith Houchins, and she told me not dare make her speak, but I'll point her out. She's one of our regional consultants for child welfare for the division. We asked her to come and be on site every day, and she has been here since September the 19th. She also had a team of folks that came from my section to help her out. We had some intensive technical assistance trainers come in. We also had some policy mapping folks to come in and work with process things. And a couple of things that we found as we began to work. Part of it was just an absence of protocols that were not in place to guide the work. I've been in child welfare for 26 years, and when there is no process, when there is no protocol, chaos ensues. And when chaos ensues, cases don't get closed, cases don't get worked appropriately. So one of the things they've been working on diligently is putting new processes in place. And we've done some really good mapping. Matter of fact, we had a good meeting just here this afternoon to talk about further mapping that we've got to do. And so one of the other things is that there was an issue with staffing. You know, turnover is tremendous, not just in child welfare, but all across the public spectrum. We're seeing it everywhere. But a couple things we did and we asked Pitt County to do, and they jumped on board with it. 5 staff were identified to focus solely on those backlog of cases. So that gave us just a team of people. That was their sole work that they would be doing. One of the things that Ms. Rochelle did is she streamlined the hiring process once she came on to make it a little bit easier to get folks onboarded quicker once an interview and their background was approved. And they've been able to add some new staff as a result. They also were able to contract with some staff that could come in and work part-time to help cover some of the load that those other staff members were not able to cover. But the beautiful part is I've watched this as September the 19th is that staff from all areas, not just assessments. You know, within child welfare, we have intake, we have assessments, in-home cases, permanency cases. Staff across all of those areas took an all-hands-on-deck mentality. And they all came together at some point. Matter of fact, in the month of October, we said, we need to make sure that in all these open cases, every family has been seen. And that was quite the endeavor. Between Meredith and the managers here, they got every family visited for the month of October and have continued to stay in touch with those folks. So I want to give a lot of kudos because it's difficult when your primary role is working with a foster care case and you're asked to handle an investigation or to work on an assessment. And they did it willingly. Not always very much fun, many times after hours, many times on the weekends. But again, they took that all hands on deck mentality, and I hope that Ms. Rochelle has seen that because we have seen it and it's been made a tremendous difference. So I want to give a lot of kudos to all of the folks who made this work. So here's some of the things that we did, all right? Efforts were put in place for significant visits and services to resume for children, all right? Here's some numbers. At the beginning of this intensive corrective action, there were 439 open CPS assessment cases. 373 of those we identified as backlog, and some of those were as old as October of 2021. As of today, there are currently 256 open cases. Only 90 of those are considered backlog. And that number has consistently decreased, and we expect it to be significantly decreased by the end of December. And let me just say, from someone who has worked in child welfare and primarily did investigations in my county days, that's an accomplishment. And it would not have been done, again, without the work of intake, assessments, in-home, foster care, everybody jumping on board and getting it done. So a lot of good work was done. The other group I want to give some kudos to is your program managers. There have been some changes in personnel since this has taken place, and those three managers have, the one over assessments, permanency, in-home, have come together well and are managing well. One of the things that I know from just the years of leadership that I've been able to be a part of is that if those middle management folks get it and they're on board with it and they're driving it and they're pushing it, it will succeed. And so I give them a lot of credit for only seeing 90 cases open now in the backlog and their willingness to work together. And so I think you're in place for a very strong team moving forward, right? A couple of people I want to specifically thank. Sharon Rochelle, your new director. It was day 2, right, when I showed up to talk to you about what was going to happen with intensive corrective action. She dove right in, all right, put her nose to the grindstone, began to make necessary changes, right? Your county manager, Janice Gallagher, was here as well, right? She made whatever resources that were needed available to ensure that it happened, right? And I also want to say, too, one of the things that I have seen in the 8 years I've worked with the division doing this, whenever corrective action is in place, there's one key factor that does make the difference in coming off corrective action and making significant improvements, and that's having strong leadership. Right? And we have seen that in Pitt County with Ms. Rochelle, with Ms. Gallagher, but also with those managers and the supervisors that you have in place. Right? There is a new mentality, a new philosophy beginning to work its way into the attitude and the mindset of your staff. Right? You have a lot to be proud of. And I will say, from the North Carolina Division of Social Services perspective, we're very pleased and glad to have been a part of the partnership. I'm not going to take any credit. I'm not going to let Meredith take any credit, because all we did was push. Your staff stepped up and did the work, because they were the ones that worked after hours. They were the ones that took it on the weekends. They made sure it got done. So pleased to make such a good report, and thank you guys again for the support that we've seen from leadership. So.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. West.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meredith, also. Appreciate it. Okay, now we're going to have Michelle Gooding, and what was the topic?
She's going to talk about diversity and just talking about the holidays that are coming
Okay,
up.
thank you.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
Thank you for this time to recognize diversity in the workplace. We'd like to just recognize some holidays in the month of December that many of our staff are celebrating, as well as Pitt County. Las Posadas, celebrated December 16th through the 24th, is an important Mexican tradition during the holidays, complete with prayer, music, food, and piñatas. The piñatas are often in the shape of 7-pointed stars. The children put on blindfolds, and they take turns hitting the suspended piñata with a stick. When it breaks and the contents spill out, Everyone rushes in to collect the goodies. We also celebrate Hanukkah, this year celebrated December 18th through the 26th. The Jewish Festival of Lights falls near the end of each calendar year, sometimes overlapping with Christmas and sometimes falling nearer to Thanksgiving. Hanukkah lasts 8 days and is a time for Jewish celebrants to gather with family and reflect on a miracle that happened many years ago, marked by the lighting of the menorah, a 9-point candelabra with a new flame ignited each night. The holiday is unique in its prayers and traditions. Christmas is celebrated December 25th. Christmas is celebrated to remember the birth of Jesus Christ. Christians believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. The name Christmas comes from the Mass of Christ. A Mass service is where Christians remember that Jesus died for us and rose again. It's quite a highlight of the Christian calendar. And then Kwanzaa, December 26th through January 1st. Each day of Kwanzaa is devoted to celebrating the 7 basic values of African culture, or the Nguzo Saba, which is Swahili meaning the 7 principles. Translated, these are unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. On behalf of Pitt County DSS, to all employees and Pitt County at large, we extend to everyone, in an effort to celebrate diversity and inclusion, we say Feliz Navidad. We say Happy Hanukkah. We say Merry Christmas and Happy Kwanzaa. Thank you for this time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Michelle.
That was beautiful.
That was excellent.
Absolutely. Okay, Brian, you have to follow that. Mr. Avery. I hope you can make it as beautiful.
I don't think I can compete with that. Good afternoon. First, I would like to give an update on the Low-Income Energy Assistance Program. In your packet is the press release, which went out on November 28th. We had coverage by WITN, WNCT, and also the Greenville Daily Reflector. This information is also available on the Pitt County website. It remains there so that anybody that wants to read about how to apply for the Low-Income Energy Assistance Program can also see the information there. The automated payments, I wanted to make a comment about that. I talked about those briefly at the last meeting. There are approximately 1,500 households who will be receiving automated payments. Those are individuals who are in households with an individual 60 and over. They received last LEAP season, and they were currently receiving in the Food and Nutrition Services Program. Those individuals have been notified by mail, and I wanted to announce that we've heard from the State Department of Health and Human Services that those payments will be issued sometime in January. So in previous years, year before last, those payments were issued in December. But so clients will know, it will be January. Those are released by the state office and done. They're automated, so we don't release those locally. So just wanted to advise on that. And I'd like to update the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program information. Through November 30th, we had assisted 728 households with water assistance. The amount of assistance, $253,500.82. As of November 30th, we had $77,081.18 remaining in the water assistance program. So we are still accepting applications for the water assistance program. I would also like to update you on our progress on the Food and Nutrition Services project. As of today, we have 589 Food and Nutrition Services applications pending. At one point, we had over 1,300 FNS applications pending. And keep in mind, this is while applications continue to come in. So that number has moved from 1,300 to 589, and this number includes applications that have been received throughout the process. So we're getting near our goal of completing applications that are part of that backlog. And I want to thank the caseworkers, the supervisors, and the program managers. They continue to work together well on this project, and they are the reason we are having the success we're having with the project. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have at this point.
Do we have any questions?
I don't have a question, Chairperson, but I have, just want Brian to talk a little bit about, we met with our state partner, and we talked about those energy companies that are not participating in our low energy program.
Okay, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
What Ms. Rochelle is referring to, the Department of Health and Human Services is moving to a process of direct payments to the energy providers, the utility companies, the gas, oil providers, and they are still participating in LEAP and SIP in the programs, but we're encouraging them to get registered in the energy portal so that they can receive their payments for accounts by a direct deposit method rather than checks being written at the local level. So we are encouraging providers, if they have questions about the portal, they can contact us and we will connect them with the individual in the state office that can assist them through the process. But it's going to be a much more streamlined process by direct deposit. So that's what we're working on now, and we hope to have as 100% participation. But even for smaller businesses or smaller providers, even if they are unable to participate, there will be a way to still make payments so those smaller providers can participate. I just want to point that out. Nobody's going to lose access to the benefits of the program, but this is just a better way to process the payments, better way to use technology to have the payments processed.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chandra Mubrin, would you like to come up and talk about holiday cheer as well as Cynthia Ross?
Look so festive.
Look at them.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Chandra. I'm here to talk about holiday cheer from the child welfare perspective. As you can see, we started off holiday cheer with the Ready Bear. That's how we kick off the event. You all were there making bears. We had fun doing that. This is the logo that we put out on the website so the community can help us and give us the funds and toys that we need for the children. This is the Knight of Columbus Council of St. Gabriel Catholic Church. They donated our foster children some coats, as you can see, that they need as it's getting very cold this time of year, and that was a good drive. This is Hannah and Natalie Sanders. They donated 190 Squishmallows for our foster children. The workers were able to get them and give them to the children. They're all cute and snuggly, so everybody really liked those. There was more Squishmallows. And the most recent event we did was the Miss Greenville America Drag Brunch. We had a blast there. We had a lot of toys. People had to come in. We do it every year. So holiday cheer is blessed is the season which engages the whole world in a conspiracy of love. Holiday cheer is going well, and the community response has been remarkable. Due to the ongoing response, not only were we able to provide Christmas to the 200 plus children in our custody, but we have also been able to assist our assessments and in-home units. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much to impact the life of a child. thank you, and it's not too late. We are still accepting toys and monetary donations and everything.
So I'm Jennifer Stroud. I'm one of the social workers that do the adult population who don't get as much as the children. They're often those forgotten individuals that are in facilities that are legal under guardianship with the Department of Social Services, and so we collect hygiene items and different things. At this point, we have 121 individuals that we have been able to get sponsored and are able to provide Christmas for this year.
Nice job, Jennifer. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any questions for them? This is great. Feel good stuff. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, our APS guardianship program manager, Cynthia Ross. There you are.
Back again. Let's see if we can get this. Actually, we got the next one. Actually. Here we go. Can you help get it to the next presentation? Can y'all hear me with this mask on? Efficient.
You're fine.
That's it. Thank you. Okay. So this is just to share where Adult Services is in the technical assistance plan. We included in your package the full plan, and I can respond to any questions on that. But we wanted to go over just how we got there and how it came about. It came about slightly different than the entryway for child welfare because the state was involved at providing technical assistance for child welfare. They sent us a letter at the end of September and said, hey, we're coming. We understand they're in for child welfare, so we want to come, and looked at all open records. So they came and did an exhaustive review on open records. They were here for most of the month on different days and visits and looked at different records, different programs. On October 21st, Ms. Rochelle made a formal request for technical assistance based on some things that were identified in that review. And they did an exit conference on 11/7, going over each of the things that they found in that review. So the primary areas that needed improvement that were identified is thorough documentation. One of the first things that unfortunately takes a hit when you have short-staffed and people, they're not as thorough in being able to make sure that their notes get up there. So that was found throughout multiple of the programs where things were not thoroughly documented as far as contacts, visits, and completion of forms. Documentation of regular supervisory oversight, so when supervised staffed cases and discussed cases, the documentation and the notes were not consistently in the record. So a lot of things were reflected by just what they looked at. It was in the record or it wasn't in the record, so they didn't necessarily take the time to review and actually discuss with supervisors, you know, what can you tell me about this case? It was just there or it wasn't there in the review. Completing all required contacts. Different programs have different contacts. This mostly applies to adult, to guardianship and SA in-home. They have certain requirements for face-to-face contacts. So there was some identified missing contacts in those areas. The other area is at the point in which an adult protective service case is substantiated, they would like us to have that filed that same day for request for access. And then there's a state data entry system where all cases, whether it be child welfare or adult services, have different service codes. You have to enter an open data entry form. And so in adult services, there was many that cases long were not being served, were not involved in, and they weren't closed out in the data entry system. So I think that at the time that they came, it was showing 1,500 cases. That wasn't certainly a reflection of how many we actually had open. So we, since October 21st, when that formal request for technical assistance was made, it didn't actually start until the beginning of November as far as what the findings were and putting those into action into the formal plan. But these are the areas. I did this pie chart to basically demonstrate that most of the goals, over half of the goals, are reflected in the Adult Protective Services program. And then the other two areas are SA and home and guardianship. There are programs in adult services that don't have oversight with the Division of Aging, so they have oversight in other areas, so they are not included in this technical assistance plan. So a lot of the areas, like was discussed a little bit when the child welfare, they talked about having standard operating procedures. So we do have some standard operating procedures. Many of them need updated, actually, to reflect current practice. They may predate when we had co-pilot, or just need to be updated with our current systems and workflows. Some just need to be developed from scratch. The state is having this conversation across the state when they're asking counties. Adult services is very much behind and not having written processes for those things. So that is something that's being worked on across the state, and we're expected to develop those written processes as part of this technical assistance. They are coming weekly, so it's a different group coming in on different days. Today we had two individuals that met, so they'll have different program areas that they're looking at, and they look at the technical assistance plan overall, asking for what areas we've made progress in, and we discuss those areas. Some areas have set standards that exceed policy and statute, so there is a lot of work being done around adult services to change the practice. The state that, particularly Adult Protective Services, is operating from a statute from 1970s. So it's not been updated. So where child welfare has had continuous revisions, adult services is not. So they're actually, certain standards like weekly, they want all APS cases seen weekly. That is not currently in policy and statute, but they are actually putting things in the plan that exceeds that. So there's a lot of things that are in this plan. We did meet and we went over that with them to say, hey, this doesn't quite match up with the manual. They're trying to get us to where it needs to be in the future, which is fine. Everybody's committed to where we want to see practice be, but it's a large growth curve to get there. So some of these changes that are being in place are almost, trying to get them in place, or earlier. But we're all looking for that high bar. We want to be that county that's known for excellent practice. Most of the goals are expected to be completed by March of '23. And there are some goals, particularly the SA in-home, that require additional staff.
Any questions for Ms. Ross?
I just have a comment.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
So what we know is that our seniors, the population is just going to grow over time. And so although a lot of the information that the state is sharing with us, although some of it is in statute, most of it is just good practice, and we want to get to the point where we're doing those good practice standards and having enough staff to prepare for what we know will just be more cases in the future.
So I can say, some of the initiatives that we've put in place, there's some things on the technical assistance plan, but then there's some things that we're just doing outside of that because we know that this plan will not fix, everything that we need. So for the first time ever, we've hired 2 of our student interns. So we have MSW interns that are here for both semesters, and they're off. So we actually hired them as temps to be able to put them in employment. Helps them be a little more connected here, not that they aren't. They're doing a wonderful job, but they've demonstrated that they're capable of doing. So Ms. Rochelle worked hard with me to get that in place and be able to get them hired and on payroll so that they're here and we didn't lose their assistance, and they're here 5 days a week where they're only here 3 days during the semester. So we're excited about that and having that support. And we're working on some other initiatives to try and do things and work together to just find new ways to solve, some very old problems that we've all been struggling with.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Okay, now we're going to move into the director's report with Ms. Rochelle.
So I think one of the items is from the department as a whole, at least on the services side of the house, is documentation. And unfortunately, unfortunately, it happens in many of the counties. It's not just Pitt County. It happens across the state and in different states. When you have a staff shortage and you're really worried about getting out to see the people that are coming through on your case list, sometimes even though you're doing that good work, the documentation's not there, that will go by the wayside. And another report comes in, and then, you know, as we talked about before, you get that snowball effect. So one of the things that we're trying out is it's like a transcribing system, so people will be able to pick up their phone and be able to dictate their notes immediately into their phone. The Speak Right pilot that we're working on right now is free of charge to us. We're able to use it for a period of time to see if it's something that suits the needs of the agency, as well as that we're happy with the service. What sets Speak Right apart is that it's not, when you're dictating into your phone, it's not a machine that's writing the notes in. It's an actual person on the other end of the phone doing the transcribing. So we tried Drag and Speak a couple of years ago. It was not effective because it didn't pick up on somebody's accent or the way, we all have an accent, but the way that we say words, and so it would take it like in a literal way, and the word wouldn't even be close to what the person was saying. So what will occur is somebody will actually transcribe the notes, give them back to the worker, let them look through, make any changes they need to do, and then they can put it exactly into the file as is. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, and I told folks to give it a try. It's a little awkward to begin with if you've not done it this way before, but once you get into the swing of things, that it will be a wonderful opportunity. And the other thing about Speak Right is they don't just charge us for a system. It will only be for those people that use the system. So if people decide not to use it, it's not that we have to pay them. Some of the systems are set up that way. It's a flat rate. This will be for those people that use it and use it often, will be charged accordingly. So I'm very excited about that, and I think folks, once they get accustomed to using it, will love it. I went ahead, and the 4-day work week for the Human Services Building is working out very well. I've had a chance to meet with some of the staff, and they're very excited. We're just going to make it part of their policy over there. I think it's keeping people engaged, keeping them working. We're not getting the turnover that we had previously, but I've also made it known that working the 4-day work week is a privilege, is not their right. So if for some reason there are issues, we can also take it away. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that we can continue and that, you know, people find it advantageous to them. I also took a look at our dress code policy, and I think it was from the 1990s, I think was the most recent updated. So I rewrote it with the help of Michelle Gooding. We tried to make it gender neutral. We didn't talk about what people, well, we did talk a little bit about what people could not wear, but mostly what was acceptable as opposed to what they couldn't do. And it really is gender neutral. It doesn't highlight women or men, just kind of in general. I sent it out to all of the supervisors, and they thought it was a great idea. And we didn't go into a lot of personal things that people do, and the other policy did. So we left it. And of course, you know, we're asking staff to use discretion, but we're also asking the supervisors to take care of those personnel issues as far as appearances go for a worker that would come in inappropriately dressed or not follow the dress code. And I'm a firm believer in, and I remember back in school, you know, somebody talked out of turn and the whole class would get detention. I don't believe in doing that. So if it's one person doing something, you deal with that person directly. Not everybody has to suffer that consequence. So that's where we are with that, and we'll see how things go. I'm hoping that that'll be a hit and people will appreciate it and use it moving forward.
Great. Any questions for Ms. Rochelle? Okay, now we're going to move into board member comments.
Good evening or good afternoon. I'm very excited. It's an exciting time of the year, and I'm excited about the shift in organizational culture here that includes diversity and inclusion around the holiday season. I don't think I've ever heard a presentation about diversity and inclusion around the holidays, and so that's very exciting. I'm also excited about all hands on deck and how that has worked out and brought about some organizational change that will help us with our corrective actions. So kudos to our director, kudos to the staff for being on board with this. Have a happy holiday season to everyone. Be safe and enjoy the excitement of the season.
Thank you.
I'd like to say welcome to our old employee. Because you really did hit the ground running. I was concerned about the removal of the 4-day work week, and I'm glad you looked into it and took positive action, because it is something that helps a person feel like you care about how they perform their work, and it's not a hindrance in doing so. It's just a matter that you have some flexibility with dealing with your staff, and so I enjoy the fact that you did that. It's just unfortunate that you came here and brought the whatever you caught with you. I'm so glad that you finally shook it, and I look forward to what you're going to do for us in the future, because I know you have a plan. Oh, you are never without a plan. So I look forward to you doing that, and we're excited about how that goes.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Colleen?
I will.
Wait. Yeah. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and all the other things that a diverse person said. Great presentation.
Thank you, Mary.
I will echo what Sheila said. It was wonderful to have diversity and inclusion highlighted in a public meeting. As an interfaith family myself, raising children of a religious minority, we don't see that very often. So I greatly appreciate it. Want to say it's wonderful when we get to see staff out in the community enjoying their connection to DSS in the community. I had the opportunity to attend an event here in the community. Actually, I went to the drag show and saw all of the DSS staff there having a great time, but also collecting toys for the kids that are here. And so it was a really great way to just see staff just enjoying what they do and getting to do it on a little bit of a lighter note. And it is so good to hear positive results of really hard work. And I just want to thank the two of you, Peter and Meredith, for not only encouraging that work, but coming and sharing it and celebrating it. Because that work certainly does not need to go unnoticed. And it's great to hear that it's come to a positive place. So also just wish everyone a wonderful, exciting season.
Thank you.
I'll just say, I just want to say thanks to the staff from the top to the bottom on some of the great things that Mr. West talked about today. That's awesome, really is. And I just want to wish everyone happy holidays.
Thank you. So I won't belabor and repeat everything, all the wonderful things everyone has said, but I will have to say that I think we're blessed to have Ms. Rochelle here as our leader. She has really hit the ground running, come in and looked at the opportunities for improvement with our partners with the state, and she's done this on her own as well within the department. She's a very transparent leader. I am enjoying working with her, and I am learning a whole lot about DSS and the different components that make up this department. So again, thank you, Rochelle, Ms. Rochelle, for stepping in at a time that we really needed it. And other than that, I want to say happy holidays, season greetings, and Merry Christmas to everyone. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, let's go home. I motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.